Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. That field, and that field, and that field, and that field there, I used to do those four as all grass. Possibly... Field 29 was grass. I was just wondering if maybe I did field 29 as arable as well, but no, I didn't. I didn't do that as arable. These three I did as arable, and I actually turned these into one big field. This was just one big field that I used to go for. And I used to keep straight edges on it, though. I mean, we couldn't get rid of the trees that were here, but now we'll be able to get rid of the trees. I might still try to go for the straight edges, though. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. I haven't decided yet. Field 24, that was grass. Field 25 and field 28, they were also grass. And that, basically, I had like a nice lot of grass just here in this section that was easy to get to, and then I could take all the hay and stuff back to the cows. It was really, really simple. None of this down here was done as grass. Not any of it at all. Those four fields there I would end up doing as grass, as well as 36, 42, and 41. So 42 and 41, like all of that area there, that would end up being the biggest grass field that I would do. And then 36 would as well. That would sort of end up being a fair size. And then you had all of this in here. So I had, like, all of this corner here, this was all grass production for the cows once I'd gotten to full map production. And with the 1,000 cows in here, you needed it. You needed all of that hay coming in. And then you got those three fields in there as well. It's just the little odd ones that were a bit more difficult to get to with combines, and it just made life a little bit easier. So yeah, that was all grass in around there. So I'm going to aim for something similar for this one. See if we can't do something like that. And yeah, so anyway, I know what I want to do now. I'm going to let you keep going with what you're doing there. You are nearly finished on here, so we'll keep a half an eye on you. I want to just be over here a minute, and I want to have a look at some placeables. So we're going to go to miscellaneous in here, and I guess nothing. There's nothing in the base game. They didn't add in the solar panels and stuff like that. Now, greenhouses, probably not in this series, I'm thinking, because you've got to manually load them up, and I don't want to be messing around with that. So we've got these three solar panel mods right here. And I can't remember what the hourly rate was on those. And that one is 1,500 per hour at 1.2 million. I did have the hourly rate versus the money invested figured out. I did that wind turbine there at 220 and 2 grand. That one's out. We're not having that one. So it was these three right here. I thought I had a beehive. Oh, there is a bee house. Right. We just do some calculations a second. That one's about 350 hours. That one's about 250 hours. That one's about 180 hours to pay for themselves. That one there takes exactly 800 hours to pay for itself, and the bee house, that also takes exactly 800 hours to pay for itself. So the bee house and the wind energy converters are actually just the windmill. That bee house right there at 25 euros an hour coming in, 800 hours before it pays for itself, and that's exactly the same as that windmill. So your 1,500 per hour seems pretty good, but it actually takes a long time to cover its own cost. That one right there is the least amount of time to cover the investment in the item. That one over there, so yeah, you got about 350... 250, 180. I think it's maybe 360 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. That one, 350, 250, 180. So ideally, we want to go for that one. That would be the fastest return on the money invested. It's still 180 hours, though. Now, that is in-game hours, right? So we would get through that pretty quickly, and then we get the money coming back. But that's 150,000 euros, which is a lot of money. And right now, we don't have any of that kind of money at all. What I do have is not even the money to go and get that little tiny one, but I do have the money to get a couple of beehives. So I'm wondering whether I should get that, because I don't have anything else that I need to buy right now. So if I was to get 3 of those, I'm getting 75 euros an hour just for a little bit. So that's over 1,500 per day coming in. And then we can sell them. I mean, we are going to want to keep them for quite a while. And besides which, I want to get beehives anyway. Right? I do actually want to get some beehives anyway, which I thought would be quite nice. So let's not get beehives for a second. Let's go over to you and move this hired help from this field over into the next one, and then we will buy 3 beehives. So I'm going to go and spend all of my money. Right, Helper G has completed their task. I will go and get 3 beehives. So that is going to be 60,000 euros, and that is going to leave us with just 1,500. And then we can have 75 euros per hour coming in. And I'm going to keep the beehives because it is something that I want to get. There's a few people that suggested I should get beehives because they're, it's nice to see them. And yes, I agree. So yes, although they're not as good an investment as the solar panels, you do end, it takes a lot longer to earn your money back. It's still, I think, one that I want to get. So we'll leave you working over there. I'm going to skip up to here, and I'm going to go back into this. Miscellaneous. And where are we with... there it is. Right, bee house. Where are we going to put these? See, I was originally thinking, we could put a load of beehives down here. And we're going to put solar panels out over here. I'm kind of thinking that we want to cut down these trees and then put the solar panels down. Yes, I'm sort of aware of, cutting down the trees in order to make room for, green energy. It's kind of like a self-defeating kind of thing, but I'm happy with that. So what I was thinking is we would actually put some beehives over here. We'll put them in our garden. So we're going to put 1 beehive this way. And I think to rotate it, you press C. That way, if you press and hold C and then rotate it round, it actually lines it up perfectly square. So I just want to make sure that is lined up perfectly square. So I'm kind of thinking that I want to put 1 beehive here. And I'm going to spin round a bit so that I can see from the back over this way. Because what I'd actually like to do is kind of get a balance on this. So I'm thinking we put 1 beehive there. Right there like that. Out on that side of the house. And then we'll put the other beehive over here. Close to the tree on this side. So this one here I'm going to try and get that lined up a little bit in there. I don't want it clipping into that tree too much. We want to come out this way a bit. Where are we going to go? We're going to go about there, I think. Let's try that. How does that look? If we go back round this way. That looks pretty good. Yeah, so we got 2 beehives pointing out across that field there. And then I'm going to do a 3rd one down over here. So I'm sort of 1, 2. Wait a minute. Let's bring you round. 2, 3. It is roughly a gap of 3 beehive width. So 1, 2 to there. About. And then another one there. Which would put you about there. And that one out on the end of the field over there. That seems actually pretty good. I like that idea. I like them facing out that way. You don't really want them pointing towards the house. So the bees go that way and out, and then they'll go up over the yard. So we'll put the last one down there like that. And that way, it's a good job I put them down when I did. Like, the money is ticking away there. It's going to be negative money. That way, they'll be coming out across this planted area right here. What we're doing over in the farm is not really going to affect them, and they should be fine. We don't use... Right, I'll go here. We don't use herbicides, not on this farm. That's not through like any particular choice. I mean, we are using fertilizer, but we can say that's organic fertilizer anyway, so that's fine. And there are our bees. Now, this is a bee house, so we've actually got... what do we got? We got 18, and then some small ones right there. Those would be just nucleus, right in there. But these are... I'm not quite sure how these are done then, because those are rather limited. A bee house like this, you'd have to manage it a lot more. You'd have to be taking the honey out on a much more regular basis than the beehive I'm used to, where you just like stack them up one on top of the other. I mean, I suppose maybe you got it a bit longer on the back. Is that how it would work, perhaps? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it's a shame you can't go in and have a look. I'm not aware of anything like this. Or how it would work, but that would be my guess, is that this would require a little bit more management than just regular beehives plonked down. But I still like the look of it. So we've got 3 of these. We would have to go in and be checking these at least once a week. Possibly more than that, depending on how much space they've got for honey, especially if you have canola down in here, and there's a run on the nectar off of the canola, because the bees will pull honey off of that. Like nobody's business. Like you would not believe how fast they can fill up a beehive with honey when you've got a field of canola right next to them, and it's like the nectar is actually flowing. It's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal, the rate at which they can get honey off of those out of it all. It is absolutely amazing. So my issue that I've got right now is that I cannot get ahead with the fertilizer spreading. Right, we're putting fertilizer in here. I cannot get ahead of it. The only way that we'd be able to do it, I think, maybe if I was to put slurry on the field, if we were to use slurry or manure from cows, but that's kind of a long, drawn-out process. It takes a while to do that. And it wasn't something I was planning to do a lot of, not in this series. I mean, we could do it a bit, because there is an option, I think, with... Actually, I'm not going to bother looking at that now. I think there is an option where it will take it directly from the animal pens, but I'm not sure about that. Well, there definitely used to be. Whether there is still... Now, you've got helper, seed, fuel, fertilizer, slurry, manure over here. Now, I've got those 2 off at the moment. You've got buy... Large cow... right there. Buying will increase helper cost. So, if I go with that bit right there, it will automatically take it from the large cow pasture and put it straight into... So, you don't have the inconvenience of having to drive backwards and forwards. It just sort of teleports the stuff to you, and... then you can spread it straight on the field. So there is that we could possibly do to speed things up a bit, but yeah, I don't think we'll worry about that at the moment. Now, the other thing that I want to have a look at was, like, obviously I've only just gone and bought these tractors, so I'd like to be able to run our 2 Fendts for at least a little while. Now, they're 150 horsepower, so we got 150 horses that we could, in theory, do some stuff with. We've got that seed planter right there. That's a 6-meter spread. We don't need to change any of that. That one can stay. We will buy 2 new ones and have a decent bit of speed going with them. And that means that then when we come to do our planting with our sunflowers, will be the first one that we do, we'll be able to plant extremely quickly. We're going to need cultivators as well, though. We've got to be able to buy 2 cultivators. Then... we want the planters, the seed drills themselves. At the moment, we've got these Stara ones right here, 3.6 meters, and this is great. This is wonderful, but it is, as soon as we get a bit more land, it is going to ultimately end up being a bit too slow for my tastes. That one right there is nice and all at 6 meters. Although these tractors won't be able to pull it, so we need to get tractor upgrades if we want that. we may as well go for big tractor upgrades and get the old Horsch Pronto 9s on the case. I mean, if we're not going to do that, then we're going to be wanting these. That's what I'm eventually going to aim for, is the Amazon Condors. These here are too big and unwieldy to pull around, but the Condor right there, that's actually a nice fit. It will, I know this from experience, it does actually work quite well. That would be a very nice machine to have if we've got the right tractors pulling it. So at the moment, like the Stara right there, I'm kind of thinking this one, because I'm pretty certain, I'm confident that our two tractors would be able to pull some of these if we had a pair of those running up and down, and that's going to give us a 6-meter spread, which is a lot better. That's kind of what we're after, really, if we can get a 6-meter spread. But no, it's those right there. We want 2 of them. They are 5 meters wide. With the speed boost that we'll be able to put on them, we'll be able to cultivate at 22 kilometers an hour, and that would be absolutely brilliant. No, we can cultivate at 22, and then straight after we've done the, as we're sort of finishing up the cultivating, we're already getting in there with the planting as well. Anyway, we've got, actually, what was I was gonna go in here and I was gonna have a look. So yeah, we're doing that. We got that one to do next. So there won't be any straw. So literally, as soon as the combine is finished in the field, we can be getting into the field with the cultivator while we're still combining other fields, and that will help the flow come along a little bit better. The hold up for us mostly is getting the straw out of the way. But I mean, we're still able to deal with that because we can have the combine. As soon as the combine gets out of the field with the oats, we're at least able to get in there with keeping the straw going. Our issue that we had with this particular harvest was the combines we've got right now have got very small tanks on them. And therefore, we struggle to stay on top of keeping the combines empty. That was the only real issue we had, was emptying out the combines. So, combine upgrades, that's fairly high on the agenda. That is fairly high on the list, is being able to upgrade and buy our next combines. These are absolutely wonderful. And then you double the price of them, and we're looking at that bad boy right there. But it's also double the tank capacity. Although I'm saying that, double the tank capacity. If we go over here and we have a look at the headers, it's probably double the width of the header as well. So it's not really going to save us a great deal. We've got 10k on there. Excuse me, on a 5 meter. That one is 7 points. So it's not quite double. And that'll be 10k, it'll be 15k that will be doing it. We will be combining flat out. Rest assured, we will be combining flat out. So, yeah, we want combine up. We need everything to be upgraded. We do. We've got to have everything upgraded all the way through. I've got a little bit of beans. Right, ooh, I'll tell you what. 2,900 right there on the current price. Best soybean price that I have seen is 3,100. That's all the way down at the port. That's a long way to go for one trailer load. You know, I'm not going to bother with that. I know it would be nice, but it's still only going to be 45,000. And the time I get all the way down there, like, okay, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to go and put you away in the shed. We'll just park this one up. We'll unhitch it off of the tractor because I'm going to want the tractor for something else. And those cultivators, I need to get them down to the dealership, don't I? It's fertilizing that we're going to be doing next. So I'm actually going to do the spreading with the Stara. Right, let's put you back there, like that, and bring you out. Where are we going to put the tractor? I guess the tractors, they could be parked up over this side, neat and tidy. Looks alright in there. We'll put them over in this side in here. Back them in there. There we go. That's looking pretty good in there. So that one's done. And then I got you up here. You've got one more up and one more down. And then we are all finished with the oats. And we can immediately start fast-forwarding time and get that all-important first growth stage so that I can get going with the fertilizer spreading. That's the only bit that's going to take a bit of time now. I mean, it is pretty quick with the fertilizer spreading, admittedly. It does not take very long to go and do that. So I'm going to get you on here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drive this one up to the top field. I'm going to take this one right up there. So he's ready to go up there. He's all ready and raring to go for the next bit. And we're going to have to do this harvest with the combines that we've got. But I'm hoping that the next harvest, we won't need to use just the combines that we've got. I'm hoping that the next... Let's just park you up there. I'm hoping that the next harvest, we're actually going to be able to have our upgraded combine. So there we go. We have now finished the planting. Or we will have once we get down here. A little bit longer. And we're minus 2,000 euros from everything that we spent there. We did go and invest 60 grand into some beehives, and I don't regret that for a moment. I don't think that that was a waste of money in any way, shape, or form. I know it's cost us. I know that there is a cost there involved with that, but I'm quite happy with that. I'm more than happy with that because I just like having the beehives there. Yeah. I think they look great. They're having those beehives set up on there, and that's like a nice place for them as well. They don't look out of place up there, do they? They're not sort of plonked down. You wouldn't look at those and think, oh, well, what on earth were they thinking putting them there? That's a really good spot for them. Let's park you up here, and then go here so we start fast forwarding time. Now, regardless of what happens with the rain, which is, I mean, it's saying that the rain is on its way, but I think this map, like, you get a really, really long warning for anything that's going to happen. And all I want to do is I just want to wait now for the first stage to pop up, and then I can start spreading fertilizer. And there's the rain. There we go. Growth stage right the way through. So I'm just going to slow that down to, what, say 30 times speed. And I'm going to go in here like this. Do a pass along this side. Now we do have a lovely fast fertilizer spreading speed on this one, which does make life a little bit easier for us. So we go right up there like that, and then I can bring it back round. So long as he'll turn properly at the end of the field. You haven't completed anything, so don't tell me anything. Don't tell me otherwise. We should be alright to leave it on at least 30 times speed until we get right to the very end of the fields. I mean, if it gets past 6 o'clock, then maybe we do want to change it, but I don't think we're going to need to worry about that. So, yeah, I want to try and find a way to be able to do the fertilizer spreading without having to do it in the middle of a growth, like having to wait for any kind of growth stage to do it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a pass along this top end here, like this. I'm going to do that manually, actually. Yeah, I don't really want to be waiting for a growth stage and then doing fertilizer like this. It's taking too long. Right? What I'd like to be able to do is just fertilize and plant all at the same time. Get everything fertilized and planted all at the same time without having to go back and worry about like waiting for the stage and then getting fertilizer going across all of the fields. Because once we get a couple more fields, it's going to take it's going to take long enough as it is, but once we get more fields going, it is going to take a ridiculous amount of time to get all of the fertilizer done, and this is not a very exciting job. So we need to try and figure out a way to do this. Now, you can do it by fertilizing, then cultivating, then planting, right? If you fertilize straight onto the field, then cultivate the land, then you can go and and then you do your planting. That works just fine. So we could add in the stage of doing the cultivating, but that would require more tractors running around To be able to do that efficiently and not sort of lose any time on it, although we've still got this time here that it takes to do the actual fertilizer spreading to take into account. So, I mean, we could do that. And, yeah, the seed drills themselves don't make a lot, like, most of them don't need it, except that one right there. See, if we would have that, although that one doesn't spread fertilizer. So, we've then still got to go and do fertilizer spreading after we've gone and planted with that one anyway. So, you go through it, you have fertilizer on the ground, then you cultivate. Then you go over it with this one, and then you stick an application of fertilizer over the top after you've gone over it with this one, and job done. Or you cultivate, and then you go into the field with one of these. You fertilize, cultivate, and then go into the field with one of these. We could do it like that. You don't need to cultivate because this is a direct drill, and that's the bit that I find irritating about this little plan. Is you don't need to cultivate. So in order to be able to get that fertilizer going down first, we're not then making use of it. And that's what I don't like. That's the really, really frustrating part. I mean, yeah, I know in real life farming, you wouldn't be going and dumping all of your fertilizer on before you plant and then not doing anything else. Like, you do it as the plant is growing. Even organic farming, well, you don't tend to put very much fertilizer on the field after everything is planted with organic farming, but you put on quite a chunk of manure, and so maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do it with manure instead, something along those lines. I don't really know. It's something that requires a bit of thought. I'm going to actually slow time down here to 1 times speed. And we are going to run down here. So we've got these 2 big fields to do down here, and then that is all the fertilizer done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down here, and I'm going to do a pass along this top end right here, like that. How have you haven't completed anything? I pressed H just as I was approaching that field in the hope that he would kick in and go. But he's decided that he's already finished. Right, off you go. There. Do 1 pass along this top end, and then we'll go down there, and then we'll do a pass along the bottom end. Same sort of pattern that we usually use. Except that I'm not going to do that quite this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you over here. I am going to do a pass along the bottom end. I am still going to do that bit. There, right. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to start up this other side. I'm going to sort of see what the overlap would do and see if we can overlap into the other field. I don't think it's going to actually overlap into the other field and let us keep going with the planting in there. Might, but probably not. So we'll kind of see on that one. Now, when I was playing the game originally in FS13, I kept all of my fields perfectly square. We no longer need to do that. Well, unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. And for those of you wondering, the paid promotion notification that came up at the beginning of the video is because in the description down below you will find a link to Fanatical. I have an affiliation with them. If you use that link, I will earn a small commission on anything that you choose to purchase. But that is all we have got time for, so if you have enjoyed the episode, then please head down below and give us a like, and if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me, get them to come and watch as well, that would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching, this is Frithgar, goodbye, and see you later.